Welcome, lovely viewers, to another exciting video. Welcome, everyone, to our latest video where we'll be exploring Dmitry Kabalevsky. Dmitry Borisovich Kabalevsky, 14 February 1987, was a Soviet composer, conductor, pianist, and pedagogue of Russian gentry descent. He helped set up the Union of Soviet Composers in Moscow and remained one of its leading figures during his lifetime. He was a prolific composer of piano music and chamber music. Many of his piano works were performed by Vladimir Horowitz. He is best known in Western Europe for his Second Symphony, the comedian's Galop from the Comedian's Suite, Op. 26, and his Third Piano Concerto. As we enter this new phase, let's uncover the impact of life on our broader topic. Kabalevsky was born in St. Petersburg in 1904, but moved to Moscow at a young age. His father was a mathematician and encouraged him to study mathematics, but he showed a fascination for the arts. He studied at the Academic Music College in Moscow and graduated in 1922. He then continued his studies with Vasily Selivanov. In 1925, he then went on to study at the Moscow Conservatory, where he learned composition with first Georgy Katuya, then Nikolai Myaskovsky, and piano with Alexander Goldenweiser. By the age of 26, his list of compositions included the String Quartet, Op. 8, Piano Concerto, Op. 9, 8 Children's Songs, Op. 17, and various works for solo piano. In 1925, he joined PROKULL Production Collective of Student Composers, a student group affiliated with Moscow Conservatory aimed at bridging the gap between the modernism of the ACM and the utilitarian agitprop music of the RAPM. ADSIT. In 1932, he was appointed senior lecturer at the Moscow Conservatory and by 1939 was a full-time professor. He also worked as a music critic for the All-Union Radio and as an editor for the Sovetskaya Muzha and the publisher Muzhiz. Kabalevsky was a prolific composer in many musical forms. He wrote symphonies, concertos, operas, ballets, chamber works, songs, theatre, film scores, pieces for children, and some pieces for the proletariat. During the years, he wrote music for the emerging genre of films with sound. Shostakovich and Prokofiev also wrote music for this genre. Some of his film music became recognized in its own right. However, his biggest contribution to the world of music making was his consistent effort to connect children to music. He worked as a piano teacher in a government school and was struck by the lack of proper material for helping children to learn music. He set out to write easy pieces that would allow children to conquer technical difficulties and to form their taste. His music focused on bridging the gap between children's technical skills and adult aesthetics. He also wrote a book on the subject, which was published in the United States in 1988 as Music and Education. A composer writes about musical education. He joined the Communist Party in 1940 and received the Medal of Honor from the Soviet government for his musical skill in 1941. In 1948, when Andrei Zhdanov issued his resolution on the directions and changes for Soviet music, Kabalevsky was originally on the list of composers who were allegedly the most guilty of formalism, but due to his connections within official circles, Kabalevsky's name was removed. Another theory states that Kabalevsky's name was only on the list because of his position in the leadership of the Union of Soviet Composers. His traditional stance as a composer, combined with his strong sense of civic duty expressed in his educational work, endeared him to the Soviet regime and earned him a long list of honors and awards, including the Lenin Prize in 1972 and the Hero of Socialist Labor in 1974. This is a testament to his ability to work creatively in the same conditions in which so many of his contemporary composers had difficulties. In general, Kabalevsky was not as adventurous as his contemporaries in terms of harmony and preferred a more conventional diatonicism, interlaced with chromaticism and major-minor interplay. The important role played by the subdominant and the frequent juxtaposition of thirds in Kabalevsky's works are features common to many Russian composers. His use of form is mostly conventional as he preferred symmetrical rondo or variation structures. Unlike fellow composer Sergei Prokofiev, Kabalevsky embraced the ideas of socialist realism, and his post-war works have been characterized as popular, bland, and successful, though this judgment has been applied to many other composers of the time. Some of Kabalevsky's best-known youth works date from this era, such as the Violin Concerto and the First Cello Concerto. Kabalevsky wrote for all musical genres and was consistently faithful to the ideals of socialist realism. Kabalevsky frequently traveled overseas. He was a member of the Soviet Committee for the Defense of Peace as well as a representative for the promotion of friendship between the Soviet Union and foreign countries. In 1961, Kabalevsky made a recording of his overture Pathetic, Spring, and Songs of Morning, in which he conducted. It was released in the US in 1975 on the Westminster Gold label. Also in 1961, Kabalevsky orchestrated Franz Schubert's well-known Fantasia in Fahrenheit Minor, originally written for 4 hands on 1 piano, producing a virtuoso piece for a piano soloist playing with a symphony orchestra. This work has been recorded several times. He was awarded a number of state honors for his musical works, including those given by the Soviet government. In regards to his teaching, he was elected the head of the Commission of Musical Aesthetic Education of Children in 1962, and was also elected president of the Scientific Council of Educational Aesthetics in the Academy of Pedagogical Sciences of the USSR in 1969. Kabalevsky also received the honorary degree of the President of the International Society of Musical Education. His notable students included Leo Smit. He died in Moscow on 14 February 1987. In the following section, we'll be immersing ourselves in the captivating world of legacy. According to musicologist Marina Roccu, through verbal commentaries on music, the Soviet ideology appropriated the classical musical heritage. In 1924, Maxim Gorky said that Soviet leader Vladimir Lenin was a quasi-religious admirer of Issei Dobrin's performance of the pretty-human music of one of Beethoven's 32 sonatas. Kabalevsky successfully developed and promoted that quasi-religious system and attitude towards musical education. The system included, at one stage, thousands of free, state-sponsored regional that offered an 8-year course promoting musical literacy and appreciation but not professional musicianship. The next stage included dozens of music schools training teachers for the previous stage, and conservatories training world-class performers. Classical music performers, like ballet dancers, were household names through their frequent appearances on Soviet TV. Kabalevsky's oft-quoted credo was "Beauty evokes kindness." The system was criticized for its alleged psychological violence towards the youth, e.g., threats that violin students would be raped by the bow unless they practice enough, and for being a tortuous tool for the gender socialization of girls. After 1991, music teachers' salaries, said to be microscopic, were below the living wage in Russia. After the dissolution of the Soviet Union, the conservatories were abandoned by the state to face the merciless fate. His idea to implement his system of musical education in secondary schools was abandoned long before the clericalization of Russian society. As of 2015, 3,089 children's musical schools and arts schools with music departments survived in Russia. Get ready for an enlightening exploration as we dig into honors and awards and understand its role in the broader context. People's Artist of the RSFSR 1954. People's Artist of the USSR 1963. Hero of Socialist Labor 1974. For Orders of Lenin 1964, 1971, 1974, 1984, Order of the Red Banner of Labor 1966, Order of the Badge of Honor 1940, Lenin Prize 1972, a new version of the opera Koas Brunnen 1968, Stalin Prizes. First Class 1946 for the String Quartet No. 2 in G minor Op. 44 1945 Second Class 1949 Concerto for Violin and Orchestra 1948 Second Class for the Opera Tars Family US State Prize 1980 for the Fourth Concerto for Piano and Orchestra Prob 1979 Glinka State Prize of the RSFSR 1966 for Requiem for Soloists, 2 Choirs and Orchestra 1962 Lenin Komsomol Prize 1984. In the next portion, we'll be immersing ourselves in the realm of selected filmography and examining its broader implications. A Petersburg Night 1934, Erograd 1935, Dawn of Paris 1936, Shkas 1939, Anton Ivanovich's Angry 1941, First Year Student 1948, Ivan Pavlov 1949, Mussorgsky 1950, Hostile Whirlwinds 1953, The Sisters 1957. Brace yourself for an enlightening exploration of works as we dive into its profound implications. See list of compositions by Dmitry Kabalevsky. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel.